The day my father announced I wasn't good enough to run his company was the same day I decided to take it from him. Funny how life works that way. I'm a Leonor, and I was born into the kind of wealth that makes people hate you before they meet you. Evans and Bond Limited isn't just a luxury empire, it's a dynasty, one that apparently requires a penis to operate, if you believe my father's philosophy. As we look to the future of our family legacy, my father announced, standing in our marble-floored living room, crystal tumbler in hand, it's time we formalise the succession plan. Jasper will assume the role of CEO within the year. My brother, sprawled on the Italian leather sofa, barely looked up from his phone. I kept my face carefully blank, years of practice serving me well. The rage building in my chest wouldn't show. Not here, not now. Outstanding choice, George, my mother cooed, patting my father's arm. Jasper has such natural leadership qualities. I couldn't help myself. Like showing up hungover to board meetings? Eleanor, my mother snapped, her perfectly painted lips tightening. Don't be petty. It doesn't suit you. Jasper finally glanced up. Jealous, sis? Don't worry. I'll let you handle the charity galas and fashion shows. He smirked. That's more your speed anyway. I smiled back, sweet as arsenic. How thoughtful. Almost as thoughtful as that merger proposal you presented last quarter. Remind me how that went. That's enough, Father interrupted, shooting me a warning look. Eleanor, your brother has been groomed for this position since birth. It's tradition. It's expected. Expected by whom? I asked quietly. The same board members who came to me to salvage the Singapore deal after Jasper forgot to show up? Mother stood, smoothing her Chanel dress. Darling, you're 32 now. Perhaps it's time to focus on finding a suitable husband instead of trying to compete with your brother. I know several eligible bachelors who... I'll pass. I stood up, straightening my own designer suit. If you'll excuse me, I have a meeting. With that startup of yours? Jasper snorted. How's that going? Still playing businesswoman? I paused at the door, turning back to face my family. This portrait of wealth, privilege, and archaic values. Actually, it's going quite well. Revenue's up 300% this quarter. That's nice, dear, Mother said dismissively. Do join us for dinner on Thursday. The Wilsons are coming, and Serena's been asking about you. I nodded, already planning my next move. Wouldn't miss it. Walking out, I heard my father muttering about my attitude problem, and my mother suggesting I needed to settle down. Same song, different day. What they didn't know, what none of them knew, was that my little startup had just cleared $50 million in silent funding. What they couldn't see was that while they were planning Jasper's coronation, I was systematically buying up every debt instrument that kept their precious empire afloat. My phone buzzed. A text from Brian, my lawyer. Final paperwork cleared. You now control 60% of their debt. I smiled, stepping into my Tesla. Poor Jasper, poor father, poor calculating mother. They were so busy protecting their boys' club that they never saw the threat right in front of them. They taught me well, though. Taught me that power isn't given. It's taken. Another text came through. This one from Serena. We need to talk. It's about Jasper. Of course it is, I muttered, typing back a quick agreement to meet. Dear cousin Serena, always trying to play both sides. She'd learned soon enough that fence-sitting was a dangerous game. I started the car, watching my family's mansion shrink in the rearview mirror. They wanted a man to inherit the empire? Fine. But what they got instead was me, and I'd spent my entire life learning exactly how to take what wasn't offered. What they didn't know was I already owned them. They just hadn't figured it out yet. 6 months earlier, I sat in a sleek downtown office, watching Brian review the documents I'd placed on his desk. My financial literacy app, Monarch, had just hit 2 million active users. More importantly, it had given me the capital I needed. This is... Brian adjusted his glasses. Ambitious, Eleanor? Buying up your family's debt through shell companies? It's legal, but what? But they'll never forgive you. I laughed, the sound sharp enough to cut glass. They've never approved of me anyway. Might as well earn their disapproval. The door opened, and Oliver Butler walked in, all 6 feet of tailored suit and calculated charm. I hadn't expected him to show up personally. Miss Evans, he said, extending his hand. Fascinating proposal you've sent our way. I kept my face neutral, though my heart rate picked up. The Butler Group owned a significant portion of my family's debt, and Oliver was the key to acquiring it. Thank you for coming, Mr. Butler. I trust you've reviewed the terms? He sat down, loosening his tie. I have, and I have questions, starting with, why are you trying to buy your own family's debt through anonymous holdings? Business is business, I replied smoothly. The terms are favourable. Bullshit. He leaned forward, eyes sharp. This is personal. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. A text from Freya. Emergency. Serena was in your office. My stomach dropped. Serena had access to the family's financial records and a direct line to Jasper. Excuse me, I said, standing. I need to make a call. In the hallway, I dialed Freya. What exactly did she access? Nothing concrete, but she was definitely searching for something. Eleanor, I think she suspects. I ended the call and returned to find Oliver studying me intently. Problems? Nothing I can't handle. I sat back down. Now, about those terms. Double your offer, he said suddenly. And I want dinner. Excuse me? Double the purchase price, have dinner with me, and the debt is yours. He smiled. I want to understand what makes someone try to secretly buy out their own family. I considered him for a moment. Dinner, no personal questions, and I'll increase the offer by 50%, not double. Deal. He stood, buttoning his jacket. Friday at 8. I'll send the details. After he left, Brian cleared his throat. Eleanor, mixing business with pleasure is exactly what they expect men to do, I cut him off. Why shouldn't I play the same game? Back at my office, I found Serena waiting. Her Hermes scarf couldn't hide the nervous way she played with her hair. Cousin, she said, trying to smile. I was just looking for you. In my private files? Her smile faltered. I was concerned about some rumours. Rumours? I kept my voice light. Do share. People are saying you're planning something. Against Uncle George, against Jasper. I stepped closer, watching her step back. And who are these people, Serena? The same people you run to with family secrets? I don't... Save it. I cut her off. Choose your side carefully. I don't forgive traitors. She fled, her designer heels clicking rapidly down the hallway. I pulled out my phone and texted Freya. Start plan B, she's compromised. My computer pinged. Another alert from our tracking software. Monarch had just passed 2.1 million users. The revenue was flowing, the pieces were moving, and soon I'd have enough leverage to bring the whole house of cards down. My phone buzzed again. Oliver. Reservations at 11 Madison Park, Friday at 8. Wear something that matches your ambition. I smiled despite myself. He was smart, this one. Dangerous, maybe. But I'd learned long ago that the most dangerous moves often brought the biggest rewards. Another text came through, this time from Jasper. Hey sis, need your help with the quarterly projections? Don't tell Dad? Of course, I replied, already planning how to use his incompetence to my advantage. What are sisters for? The game was getting complicated, but that's exactly how I liked it. Let them think I was just the helpful sister, the obedient daughter, the harmless cousin. By the time they realised the truth, it would be far too late. The Evans and Bond Legacy Gala was everything you'd expect from a family that measured success in zeros. Crystal chandeliers, champagne fountains, and enough old money to sink a yacht. I adjusted my black Valentino gown, watching Jasper stumble through his speech. And as we moved forward into the... he squinted at the teleprompter. The digital age, our commitment to excellence. I caught my mother's eye across the room. Her smile remained fixed, but her knuckles were white around her champagne flute. Next to her, my father was turning an interesting shade of red. What my brother means, I stepped smoothly to the microphone, is that Evans and Bond is embracing innovation while honouring tradition. Our new digital marketplace initiative has already increased consumer engagement by 40%. The crowd relaxed visibly. I could practically hear the collective sigh of relief from the shareholders. Always cleaning up his messes, a voice murmured behind me. Oliver Butler, looking devastating in a tuxedo. It must be exhausting. I have no idea what you mean, I replied quietly, watching Jasper retreat to the open bar. Don't you? Oliver's hand brushed my lower back as he guided me toward a quieter corner. Just like you have no idea about the mysterious holding company that's been acquiring your family's debt. I kept my face carefully neutral. The financial markets are complex. Eleanor, my mother's voice cut through our conversation like an icy blade. A word? I followed her to a private alcove, leaving Oliver watching with undisguised interest. You're being decorative but not decisive, she hissed, straightening my necklace with unnecessary force. Stop trying to overshadow your brother. Someone has to be competent, I shot back. Or did you miss him nearly face-planting into the podium? He's nervous. It's a big responsibility. A responsibility he's not ready for. Her fingers dug into my arm. Know your place, Eleanor. Pretty girls who don't end up alone. Better alone than a puppet, I replied, pulling away. I headed for the terrace, needing air, but Oliver was waiting. You're the ghost creditor, aren't you? I turned to face him. And if I am? Then you're either brilliant or insane. He stepped closer, possibly both. Mr. Butler. Oliver, he corrected. And don't bother denying it. The question is, what's your endgame? Before I could respond, my father appeared. Eleanor, Jasper needs your assistance with the board members. Of course he does, I muttered. And Eleanor. My father's voice dropped. When your brother takes over, I expect your full support. Family first. I watched him walk away, remembering all the times I'd heard those words. Family first, unless that family member was female and ambitious. Interesting dynamic, Oliver observed. You have no idea. I turned back to him. Why haven't you exposed me? He studied me for a long moment. Because I'm curious to see how this plays out. And because... He hesitated. Because maybe it's time someone shook up the old boys' club? Even if that someone is a woman? Especially if it's you. He handed me his card. Call me when you're ready to talk strategy. Real strategy, not this dinner date deflection we've been playing at. I watched him leave, his card burning in my hand. Behind me, I could hear Jasper laughing too loudly with some investors, my mother's practiced social laugh, my father's commanding tone as he held court. My phone buzzed. A text from Serena. We need to talk. I know what you're doing. Another buzz. Freya. Monarch just hit 3 million users. We're trending. And finally, an email from Brian. Final acquisition approved. You now control 75% of their debt. I looked through the glass doors at my family. This perfectly curated image of success and tradition. They had no idea their empire was already under new management. They just hadn't gotten the memo yet. I pulled out my phone and typed a quick message to Oliver. Tomorrow, your office. No games this time. His response came immediately. Never thought you were playing games, Eleanor. That's what makes you dangerous. I smiled, tucking his card into my clutch. The pieces were all in place. Now it was just a matter of timing. You're playing a dangerous game, Oliver said, spreading documents across his desk. These shell companies, the debt acquisition, one wrong move and it all falls apart. I leaned back in my chair, watching him work. That's why I need your help. The final blind needs to be perfect. And what do I get out of this? He looked up, his expression unreadable. Besides the satisfaction of watching an antiquated empire crumble? Besides that. I stood, walking to his window. 15 years ago, I'd stood in my father's office, pitching my first business idea. I was 17, top of my class, and naive enough to think merit mattered more than gender. That's not a girl's business, he'd said, barely looking up from his papers. Focus on something more suitable. Fashion, perhaps. Or event planning? Eleanor. Oliver's voice pulled me back. Where did you go just now? Memory lane. It's not a pleasant neighbourhood. He came to stand beside me. Tell me. So I did. Told him about the years of watching Jasper fail upward while I fought for scraps of recognition. About the board meetings where my ideas were ignored until a man repeated them. About my mother's constant attempts to marry me off to suitable candidates. Christ, Oliver muttered. And they never saw what was right in front of them? They saw exactly what they wanted to see, a decorative daughter who knew her place. My phone buzzed. Freya. Serena's been asking questions about Monarch's funding. She's digging. Problems? Oliver asked, noting my expression. Nothing I can't handle. I turned back to his desk. Show me how to make this airtight. For the next hour, we restructured the final holding company. Oliver's expertise made it bulletproof, a legal labyrinth that would take months to unravel. By the time we finished, I officially controlled every major debt instrument my family's company held. Sign here, Oliver said, sliding the last document across his desk. And it's done. My hand hesitated over the paper. No going back after this. Having doubts? No, I signed with a flourish. Just appreciating the moment. My phone rang. Freya again. Eleanor, we need to talk now. I have to go, I told Oliver. Thank you for everything. He caught my arm as I passed. Be careful. Revenge has a way of burning both ends. I'm not looking for revenge, I lied. Just justice. Freya was waiting in my office, pacing. You need to slow down. Why? Because you're not thinking about the cost. She stopped, facing me. What happens after you win? When you've destroyed your family's legacy? Their legacy? I laughed. Their legacy is discrimination dressed up as tradition. It deserves to burn. And what about you? What happens to Eleanor when this is over? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed with a text from Serena. Uncle George is changing the family trust. Emergency meeting tomorrow. You need to be there. Perfect timing, I muttered. Eleanor. Freya's voice was soft. Just think about what you're sacrificing. I thought about Oliver's warning, about Freya's concern, about the weight of what I was about to do. Then I thought about my father's dismissal, my mother's constant belittling, Jasper's entitled smirk. Some things are worth the price, I said finally. My phone buzzed again. Oliver. Whatever happens tomorrow, remember you have allies. I smiled despite myself. Allies. That was new. I'd been playing this game solo for so long, I'd forgotten what support felt like. The trust meeting's at noon, I told Freya. Want to watch the fireworks? Someone has to keep you from burning down the whole city. She hugged me quickly. Just promise me one thing. What? Don't lose yourself in the flames. I watched her leave, then looked at the signed documents on my desk. My name, my power, now controlled everything my family had built. Tomorrow, they'd learn exactly what that meant. My phone lit up one last time. Jasper. See you at the trust meeting, sis. Try not to be late. It's important. Oh, brother, I whispered to the empty office. You have no idea how important it's going to be. The family's legal office smelled like old money and broken dreams. I arrived early, watching the players assemble. My mother, arranging herself like a queen on her throne. My father, barking into his phone about share prices. Jasper, hungover and scrolling through his Instagram. Serena slipped into the seat beside me. Eleanor, please. It's not too late to stop this. Stop what? I asked innocently, noting how she'd positioned herself to watch my reactions. I know about the debt acquisitions, about Monarch, about everything. Do you? I turned to face her. Then you know exactly why I can't stop. But, the lawyer entered, cutting her off. As he distributed documents, my father cleared his throat. Before we begin, I want to address the succession plan. He looked directly at me. The board has unanimously approved Jasper as CEO. Eleanor, you'll be expected to support this transition. Of course, I smiled. I live to serve. Don't be dramatic, my mother sighed. It's unbecoming. Jasper stretched, grinning. Don't worry, sis. I'll let you keep your little pet projects. First thing I'm doing, though, is shutting down that outdated research division. Waste of resources. My head snapped up. The division that developed our best-selling product line? Times change, he shrugged. We need space for my ideas, like crypto investment and NFTs. I caught my mother hiding a wince. Even she knew how stupid that sounded. Mr. Evans? The lawyer interrupted. About the trust amendments? Yes, my father nodded. Given recent tensions, we're restructuring the family trust. Eleanor's portion will be placed in a controlled account, managed by the board. The room went silent. They were cutting me off completely. Interesting timing, I said quietly. Any particular reason? It's for your own good, my mother added. You've been making questionable decisions lately. This protects you. Protects me, I laughed. Or protects you? Eleanor, my father warned. This attitude is exactly why. Why what? I stood up. Why you're afraid of what I might do with my inheritance. Why you're trying to control me even now. Serena touched my arm. Please, just listen to them. I shook her off. No, I think I've listened enough. For years, actually. Sit down, my father commanded. You're embarrassing yourself. No, father, I'm embarrassing you. There's a difference. I walked to the door, then turned back. Enjoy this moment, Jasper. It ends tonight. In the hallway, my phone exploded with messages. Freya, PR pieces ready to go. Brian, legal team standing by. Oliver, are you sure about this? I texted back one word to all of them. Execute. Within minutes, my phone started ringing. First my father, then my mother, then Jasper. I ignored them all, walking to my car. Serena caught up to me in the parking garage. They'll never forgive you. They never approved of me anyway, I replied, echoing my words to Brian months ago. I could help, she offered. We could find a compromise. Like you helped by feeding them information about me? I watched her face pale. Did you really think I wouldn't know? I was trying to protect the family. No, I corrected her. You were trying to protect your position. There's a difference. My phone buzzed again. Oliver, just saw the first news alerts. You've started a war. Not a war, I texted back. A hostile takeover. Serena was still talking. Something about family loyalty and tradition. I cut her off. You know what tradition got me? A front row seat to watching mediocrity succeed because it came in a mail package. Well, guess what? I'm done watching. What are you going to do? I smiled, getting into my car. Tonight, I'm going to the company's centennial celebration. Tomorrow, I'm going to burn it all down and rebuild it in my image. Eleanor, please. You chose your side, I reminded her. Now live with it. As I drove away, I could see my father's name lighting up my phone again. Let him call. Let them all panic. In a few hours, they'd understand exactly what they'd created with their years of dismissal and disrespect. They wanted a war? Fine. But they forgot one crucial detail. They taught me how to fight. The centennial celebration was in full swing when I arrived. Champagne flowed, cameras flashed, and my family held court like the royalty they thought they were. Jasper was at the podium, riding high on his imagined victory. As the new CEO, he was saying, I promise to uphold our legacy of excellence. I caught Oliver's eye across the room. He raised his glass slightly, a silent question. I nodded once. Showtime. And now, Jasper continued, I'd like to announce our first major initiative. Actually, I cut in, walking to the stage. I have an announcement of my own. My father stood up sharply. Eleanor, sit down. No, I don't think I will. I took the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, shareholders and board members, I have some interesting financial documents to share. The giant screen behind me flickered to life, displaying a complex web of ownership documents. Freya, right on cue. What is this? My mother hissed. This, I said, pointing to the screen, is a complete record of every debt instrument held by Evans and Bond Limited. And this, I clicked to the next slide, is proof that all of that debt is now owned by Alona Holdings LLC. The room erupted in whispers. My father's face went from red to purple. As the primary debt holder, I continued, I'm calling in all loans, effective immediately. Jasper lunged for the microphone. She's lying. This is ridiculous. Your own signature is on half these documents, brother dear. Maybe you should have read what you were signing between hangovers. You can't do this, my father roared. I already have. I turned to the crowd. The company has 24 hours to repay its debt in full, or ownership transfers to me. That's business, isn't it, father? That's what you taught me. Serena stood up. The shareholders won't stand for this. It's perfectly legal, Brian interrupted, stepping forward with a stack of papers. And speaking of legal matters, Ms. Wilson, we have some interesting documents about certain financial discrepancies under your supervision. The colour drained from Serena's face. You didn't raise a lady, I told my parents, watching their empire crumble in real time. You raised an apex predator, and now you get to see what that means. My mother grabbed my arm. Everything we did was for you, to protect you. No, I pulled away. Everything you did was to control me. There's a difference. Jasper was frantically calling his lawyers. Board members were hurrying to their phones. My father looked like he might have a stroke. The papers are already running the story, I announced. Your stock is dropping as we speak, but I'm willing to negotiate with the board, not with you. I'll sue, Jasper sputtered. You'll what? Prove you were too drunk to understand the documents you signed? That'll look great in court. Oliver appeared at my side. Security's ready if you need them. This isn't over, my father growled. You're right, I agreed. This is just the beginning. I'm going to take everything you built and make it better. Because unlike you, I actually know how to run a business in the 21st century. The room had descended into chaos. Reporters were pushing their way in, cameras flashing. Shareholders were demanding answers. Through it all, I stood calmly, watching years of patriarchal privilege implode. Eleanor, Oliver murmured. Time to go. Let the lawyers handle the rest. I nodded but turned back one last time. Oh, and Jasper? Those outdated research divisions you wanted to shut down? They're now the company's most valuable assets. Funny how that works when you actually read the reports. As security cleared a path, I heard my mother crying, my father shouting, Jasper threatening everyone in sight. But above it all, I heard the sound of shattering glass ceilings. My phone buzzed. Freya. Stock's down 30% and falling. Board's calling for an emergency meeting. You did it. Another text from Oliver. Drinks later? You look like you could use one. I smiled, stepping into the elevator. Make it whiskey, I texted back. The expensive kind. I'm feeling celebratory. The doors closed on the chaos behind me. In my reflection, I saw something I'd never seen before. Power. Real power, not the borrowed kind they'd been dangling in front of me for years. They wanted a war. I gave them an execution. The aftermath was nuclear. 3 days of emergency board meetings, legal negotiations, and press conferences. I sat at my father's desk, my desk now, watching the fallout settle like toxic snow. The board has officially accepted your terms, Brian announced, closing his laptop. Jasper's resignation is effective immediately. And my parents? Your father's being treated for high blood pressure at Mount Sinai. Your mother's not taking calls. I nodded, running my fingers along the mahogany desk. Decades of male authority absorbed into this wood, and now a woman's hands commanded it. The door opened. Oliver walked in, looking exhausted. Your brother's on TV again. Something about family betrayal and illegal tactics. Let him rant, I said. The documents speak for themselves. Eleanor, Oliver sat down heavily. We need to talk. I knew that tone. Had been waiting for it, really. About what this cost you. What it's still costing you. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. How could you do this to your family? I showed Oliver the message. Family? They stopped being family the moment they decided I was decorative rather than decisive. And what about us? The question hung in the air like smoke. What about us? The dinners, the late-night strategy sessions, the moments when business blurred into something more. Is there an us? I asked quietly. I don't know. He stood up, pacing. I admire what you did, how you did it. But the ruthlessness, Eleanor. I've watched you become everything they feared. Everything they created, I corrected. Maybe. He stopped at the window. But I can't stand beside someone who'd burned down their own house to prove a point. Then don't. He turned, surprise flickering across his face. Just like that? Just like that. I stood up. I didn't do this for love, Oliver. I did it for justice. And was it worth it? Being right? Being alone? Before I could answer, Freya burst in. Eleanor, you need to see this. She handed me a worn leather folder. Inside were letters, dozens of them, in my grandmother's elegant handwriting. Where did you find these? Hidden compartment in the old office. Read the last one. I pulled out the letter, dated just before her death. My dearest Eleanor, They won't understand your fire. They'll try to extinguish it, contain it, control it. Don't let them. This company was built on the silent work of strong women, watching weak men take credit. Break the cycle. Take what's yours. And when they call you ruthless, remember, they made you this way. All my love, grandmother. My hands shook. When was this dated? A week before she died, Freya said softly. She knew, Eleanor. She was rooting for you. Oliver read over my shoulder. Well, that adds a layer. It changes nothing, I said, but my voice wavered. It changes everything, he replied. It means you're not just angry. You're right. My phone buzzed again. Jasper, you've destroyed this family. No, I typed back. I've freed it from mediocrity. Oliver touched my shoulder. I can't be what you want right now. I know. But I respect what you've done. And maybe when the dust settles... I smiled sadly. Don't make promises you can't keep. After he left, Freya sat with me in silence. Outside, the city lights flickered like stars, indifferent to the empires rising and falling beneath them. What now? She asked finally. I looked at my grandmother's letter again. Break the cycle, she'd written. Take what's yours. Now we rebuild, I said. But differently. Better. And your family? They'll adapt or they won't. Either way, I'm done carrying their expectations. My phone lit up one last time. A message from an unknown number. Proud of you, kid. Oliver. I didn't respond. Some endings need to stay ended, at least for now. Some victories come with empty chairs at the table. Looking out at the city, I felt something shift inside me. Not regret exactly, but recognition. I'd won everything I wanted, but the cost was written in invisible ink between every victory. Was it worth it? Freya echoed Oliver's question. I thought about my grandmother's words, about broken cycles and silent strength. Ask me tomorrow, I said. And the day after that. And the day after that. Because some questions don't have simple answers. Some victories are measured in the silence they leave behind. The boardroom felt different with women occupying half the seats. I watched them review the quarterly reports. Brilliant minds my father would have relegated to assistant roles. Profits up 40%, Sarah, my new CFO, announced. The digital expansion is exceeding projections. And the research division, I asked, thinking of Jasper's plans to shut it down. Revolutionary new product line launching next month. Pre-orders are through the roof. My phone buzzed. A news alert. Jasper Evans opens crypto consulting firm. Files for bankruptcy, same day. I suppressed a smile. Some things wrote themselves. Ms. Evans? My assistant poked her head in. Your mother's in the lobby. The room went quiet. I hadn't seen her since the takeover. Send her up. She entered like a ghost of her former self. Designer clothes still perfect, but something broken in her posture. Eleanor, she said softly, you've redecorated. Among other things. I dismissed the board with a nod. What do you want, Mother? Your father's selling the house, moving to Palm Beach. She sat down, hands twisting in her lap. He won't admit it, but the company's thriving under you. Is that why you're here? To acknowledge my success? I'm here because... She took a deep breath. Because I was wrong. About everything. I waited. I taught you to be small, she continued, to fit into spaces men designed. But you built your own space, like your grandmother would have. Don't, I warned. Don't use her to manipulate me. I'm not. She pulled out an old photograph. This was her, at 20, before she let them convince her to step aside for your grandfather. The image showed a young woman with fierce eyes and a determined smile. My eyes, my smile. She wanted more for you, my mother said. We all did. We thought protection meant limitation. It never does. A knock at the door. Oliver stood there, looking uncertain. Sorry, he said. I can come back. No. My mother stood. I've said what I came to say. She paused at the door. Eleanor, I'm proud of you, even if I don't understand you. After she left, Oliver sat down. That looked intense. Why are you here? Because I was wrong too. He placed a file on my desk. The Butler Group wants to partner on the Asian expansion. No strings, no games, just business. Just business? Unless, he smiled slightly, unless you're free for dinner. To discuss the partnership, of course. Of course, I matched his smile. Strictly professional. My phone buzzed. Freya. Monarch just hit 10 million users. We're officially a unicorn. Good news? Oliver asked. The best kind. The kind I earned. Another text from Serena. You were right about everything. I'm sorry. I looked around my office, at the view I'd fought for, the empire I'd rebuilt, the legacy I'd reclaimed. My grandmother's letter hung framed on the wall. Break the cycle. You know, Oliver said, following my gaze, most people would have compromised, taken the easier path. I'm not most people. No, he agreed. You're something else entirely. My phone lit up again. A message from Jasper. Need a job. For old time's sake. I typed back. Submit your resume like everyone else. May the best candidate win. Ruthless, Oliver observed. No, I corrected. Fair. Finally, completely fair. The sun was setting over the city, painting everything in gold. Below, people rushed through their lives, unaware that empires had fallen and risen in these towers. Dinner? Oliver stood, offering his hand. I took it, feeling the future shift into place. Dinner, but this time I'm buying, he laughed. The mighty Eleanor taking care of the check. The mighty Eleanor, I agreed, taking care of everything. Because that's what power is, not the ability to destroy, but the choice to build something better from the ashes. Not revenge, but revolution. They wanted a man to inherit the empire. Instead, they got me. And I never forget my debts. But more importantly, I never forget my worth. The city stretched out before us, endless with possibility. My grandmother would have loved this view, this victory, this moment of perfect, hard-won justice. Ready? Oliver asked. I smiled, stepping into my future. I'd been ready my whole life.